Okay. Now there are maybe some instructions, or I should say some clarification of these two practices, both the relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta too. Ni konde che sam shukte la reto chu tawa titra samu. Cutting the expectation, we need such a view to cut the expectation. So these practices we are forced to do this through many causes, particularly different types of suffering. Suffering from our physical pain, suffering from our emotional pain, suffering from the enemies, suffering from the different demons and entities. Due to these forces, we are kind of happen to or end up to participate in this kind of retreat, study and practice. So we should be very grateful to these unfavorable conditions that made a great favorable condition. The suffering that we went through, whatever that may be, made a great impact, useful support, great supporter to have this kind of opportunity. So now, if we don't want suffering, so we have to purify the cause of the suffering. The cause of the suffering is non-virtual. So always make effort to purify that. If you don't want suffering, you have to purify the cause of suffering. We should not engage in the non-virtuous action. So, giving this kind of opportunity, wisdom, strength in the mind, so we should feel so grateful. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very thankful for this. If this is not happened, or if I have not faced these kind of difficulties, suffering, predicaments, I won't get this kind of opportunity. So this must be a manifestation of Buddha or Bodhisattva that forced me to study, practice this kind of teachings. So I feel much joy, grateful. If I have not met or faced this kind of different types of sufferings, the negative karma that I have can be caused to be born in the lower realms in my next life. But due to these conditions, now I got opportunity to purify all my negative karmas in this life. So for that, I'm also very grateful. I'm very thankful. So how much I got benefit from this is infinite, immense. So this is the activities of Buddha. So as yesterday we discussed, from one natural speech of Jigten Sungpa said, everything, every existence can be activities of Buddhas, is what that means, like this kind of. Even my negative thought, attachment, hatred, can be activities of Buddha. Because of that, I follow my mind into the Dharma to purify these thoughts. So suffering can be such a great, powerful method of purification. As you know, when you read the Jigten Sungpa's life story, after 7 years retreat, and at the end he got a leprosy sickness. First he was so depressed, who has such a powerful, profound instructions, meditation practices, such a great disciple of Phamuttupa, but having this kind of suffering, so he was so depressed. But at that moment, when he looked at all the sentient beings who doesn't have these kind of instructions, have no any clarity of the mind what to do, he said, I have, even if I die with this sickness, I have the confidence to be born in a pure land, Buddha field, but not the sentient beings. So with this power of great compassion, and he utilized this kind of practice, that all the sentient beings who are suffering, they purify this suffering. By this small suffering, may empty all the suffering of the sentient beings, the ocean of suffering. And he meditated so powerful in this. With the one-pointed mind, that hold his entire being in the nature of compassion and wisdom. So because of that, at that short moment, within a couple of days, fully purified all his sickness and achieved Buddhahood. So like that, our small suffering can be very, very useful for this kind of purification and meditation practice. Without this kind of relative bodhicitta practice, it is not easy or difficult to practice ultimate bodhicitta. They help each other in order to actualize ultimate bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta is very important. Need the support of the relative bodhicitta for the actualization of the ultimate bodhicitta. So, from our heart, welcome all the different types of sickness, obstacles. That helps to renounce samsara. Suffering helps to renounce samsara. Suffering helps to develop compassion. The suffering helps to engage our life into the virtuous practice, as is mentioned in the Bodhicitta Avatara. The suffering what we have in the human realm is very useful. By the sadness, pain of suffering, we renounce samsara. We will lose reduce our arrogance, cultivate compassion to all sentient beings, and engage in the virtuous actions. So, the suffering causes to dispel all the non-virtues. All suffering causes to dispel the suffering. And suffering causes to establish all the happiness. So, this suffering creates such great benefits for my life, or in my life. Buddha taught how to practice this. And this suffering gives this kind of opportunity. So these all are like a spiritual friends, spiritual masters. So I'm very grateful. Let's practice this way. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you need any discussions? Do you need any clarifications or comments? Yes.
Could you tell us what?
So, Kaya. You haven't heard of that? Think as this should be in the Gauda Mantra practices. Should be there.
His trade would be inseparable.
Yeah, inseparable.
What would be true?
Non-abiding.
Sometimes I've heard the four kaya describing outer term, like mnemonic. Sometimes teachers, for instance, I describe, or Francis in the conventional world are described as mnemonic kaya, and visions as Gambodha kaya. I think for the Bodhisattva and visions, and Dhamma kaya as
Non-vision.
I did with the inner that you were explaining earlier.
This sounds more concrete, isn't it? Yeah. You stick with that. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I find that both cherishing part of the life fear,
That's right.
fear of death, fear of ego dissolving, and I find that they stay in fear or habit, become doing themselves with that. How do you directly address the fear when you're in that fear?
That's mentioned will be self-cherishing. Creates the fear because you attach to self. So we fear to lose something. So that moment, first of all, as we have this non-direct instruction, So where's self-cherishing? Where is that self in order to cherish? So there's no independent entity of self. See? So since there's no independent entity of self, or I cannot identify where the self is. So why I should cherish to that? Why I blindly grasping on that? So fear is a type of suffering related to that attachment. And so just say this is just my propensity attached to that, and fear comes. So of course we have a lot of tendencies to look around, back and forth, if possible, or if you get such powerful recollection. So just sit down on that moment and look at that, first of all, the egolessness nature.
And find that.
Yeah. Yeah. So first we look at that in the nature of the selflessness. What I'm saying is the independent kind of self that we believe is not there, Just meditate on that. And there shouldn't be such characteristic called fear, this and that. Just meditate that. Comes from the duality, fear, that side. That's what we fear to that is also not exist. It's illusory nature.
Well, I noticed when lately I'm measuring the object, beginning to dissolve, then I suddenly realize that I'm a measuring too.
That's right.
The existence of I and the existence of others. But that's when I feel fear.
That's right.
I feel myself,
Yeah.
I'm illusory, then the fear is there, and then I'm out of it.
That's right. That's illusion does not mean, in this case, illusion does not mean, first of all, illusion does not mean bad things. Sometimes we say illusion in the connotation, the word illusion is like bad, useless, and that kind of. And we are built up so much, this is good, this should be done so well, So here illusion means we should see all interdependent of causes and conditions. That's called illusion. Nothing is independent. Okay. We see tree grow, tree is there, but the tree is not independent. For example, if there's no heat, no water, in the winter all the leaves fall down. You know? The shores, the leaves, these all depends on cause and condition. As soon as there's a heat, there's a water, and leaves come up. Manifest. So like that, everything depends on causes and condition. My body depends on causes and condition. Let's intellectually investigate this hand. So it's a hand, but this is not hand. This finger like that, no? Skin, bone, flesh like this. And when you go through that, there's no hand. There's no independent hand. You see. But when we see this rough hand, say this hand, that's called this illusion. We're not kind of denying this, or we're not ignoring it, but we need to see how it kind of constituted in the illusory nature. See? So like that, our whole body. Just it. So it's not. I'm not making illusion. See, if I'm making illusion, then you have to fear. Oh, this is not illusion now. I'm making illusion. Oh, I don't like that now. But we are realizing how everything, as mentioned, constituted in the nature of illusion, causes and condition. You know, that realization. So when you practice that way, actually, instead of fear, should come great joy, confidence.
I had this today that while I'm meditating in the Dhammakaya, I'm and I see no that state.
Mm-hmm.
And remembering that bit.
Yeah. Then fear itself is also illusion. You should realize that, no? Yeah. Fear itself is no other than illusion. Sometimes we say fear is not like concrete, no? That illusion is, that fear is also illusion. So this it takes time, okay? But this experience is very good. So this experience comes through our practice. If you don't practice, no experience this. Without experiences, no progress. See, we get progress through practice. When we practice, a lot of different experiences come. Fear, doubt, hesitation, unclarity, you know, or strange things. Sometimes very strange things happen in your mind, no? Sometimes you dislike the practice. I don't want to practice anymore, no? A lot of these things will happen. But we just proceed. Not just continue. Just still, we said here, coming also, if you don't want to practice, I'm just feeling boring, too much this. Then that time you meditate. All the sensation beings, the samsara have this kind of feeling. They don't practice, they don't like to practice. So the mind not wanting to practice, purify all the sensation beings who are not want to practice Dharma teaching. You know? It's really good, you know? If you feel lazy, my lazy may purify all the laziness of sensation beings. No? Yeah. So everything becomes part of practice. Now this retreat we have started last from Saturday, particularly the study practice of the mind training, Lojong, is kind of from Sunday started. So as you see, those who have been in the retreat every day, we have a process of every day. There's some a little kind of subject that we touched and studied and practiced. Yesterday we were discussing and practicing where we were the obstacles, the sufferings, turn into the path towards enlightenment when we're training our mind, relating with the relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. As we yesterday got some that instructions of the ultimate bodhicitta, so as you can understand, that here said, in this dedication prayer, said, may I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and pervading clarity of Dharmata. What that means? So when we could practice that ultimate bodhicitta and actualize and sustain that and getting used to it, that's how it happens. So anyway, first we go through this now, right from the beginning. Start appreciate, rejoice the opportunity we got today from our busy life in this place to study some, to practice some. We appreciate to ourselves that virtuous deeds, merits that we have accumulated for many lifetimes to get this opportunity to have this precious human life. Even though we got this opportunity, we have this precious human life, but it's not permanent, so momentary. It's like an illusion. It's like a magic show or magic display. Manifest there, one moment, another moment, it finished, disappear, like that. Our life is like a magic show. Moment to moment, display many things, do a lot of things. And then at the end, all are not there. So, yeah. As we can see, every sentient beings, those who have consciousness, including us, whether in the spiritual or whether in the non-spiritual, we all make effort to bring peace, happiness in our life. We sacrifice a lot of things to have a better life. Or sometimes just to have one day joy, happiness, we have to go through many hardships. And that one day's happiness, the joy is very momentary. So like that, everything's momentary, subject of change. So we cultivate such a great bodhicitta, altruistic thought to every sentient beings. The mind based on loving kindness, compassion, of course, wisdom. Even though at this moment we may not have the ability to help every sentient beings, but first we have to build in our mind these qualities of the abilities. So we have to build these abilities, capacity to do, to benefit sentient beings. The basic cause for this is developing wisdom, compassion, loving kindness. That means building a strength in the mind, building a willpower in the mind. So as we went through these last 3-4 days, when you clarify and define the line between what is the real cause of suffering, what's the real cause of happiness, the confusion we got, not understanding. We always make effort to bring peace, happiness by establishing self-cherishing, self-grasping. We think if we do that way, maybe more substantial happiness will come. But this is other way around. As here yesterday established that there is no self, or self is not exist by itself. We cannot identify the independent self, the permanent self, ego. Since that which is not exist, no matter how much we try to make that concrete, to make that happy by sacrificing many virtues, happiness, pleasure in our life, there's no one day to have complete happiness, but maybe more suffering. So I said, see that nature. So cultivate mind to all the sentient beings are the real cause of our happiness, peace. More we cherish the sentient beings, more we have a pure thought, altruistic thought for all sentient beings. That's the true cause of happiness, true cause of wisdom. So because of these reasons, then all the meditation practices are taught. So, on this, the carrying the suffering, using the suffering to train our mind, use them as a purification, take them as a path towards enlightenment. So there are suffering, different types of suffering, see. Physical sickness, mental sickness, obstacles, meeting enemies, facing strong afflictive emotions in the mind, like attachment, like anger, pride, jealousies. When these rise in the mind, they're suffering. Usually we take refuge in them. We follow the anger, hatred. We follow the attachment, pride, jealousies. We like taking refuge in them. So, the whole world is a state of suffering. Individually who takes refuge in them, the end is suffering. So therefore we see them as a subject to purify. We can't escape from them while we have them. When these are in our mind, we can't escape them. We can't escape from them. But we have to face these and then build a strength in the mind and practice. So, when we practice as a couple of days, we have some discussions. When we practice with them, meditation, reciting mantra, saying prayers. So I may not face this suffering. I may not face this problem. I may not face these obstacles. With this kind of expectation, we do prayers, we say mantras. The deity may help me to do these things, that things. So, we know they give us suffering, so therefore we do this practice. And we become very fragile. We believe prayer, deities as like a creator. They may do something for us. And like in the eggshell, very easy to break. So our practice here, what we are doing is building strength when these different types of suffering comes. Instead of escaping from them, utilize them as a method of practice. As yesterday we were doing those things, isn't it? So, this practice, we should take real medicine care. True medicine. When you have physical pain, suffering, that practice. So first we should do what we do. Meditate. We embody this suffering as the suffering of all sentient beings. See, that is the embodiment of the suffering of all sentient beings. So this may substitute to purify all the suffering of the sentient beings. This suffering that I am facing may purify all the negative karmas that I have created for many lifetimes. And it is, of course, result of the negative karma. Like that. When you have mental suffering, same thing. This we just in the mind we think, meditate, or contemplate, whatever you say. So this is the for all the sentient beings' mental suffering, substitute or embodies all sentient beings' suffering, and purify all sentient beings' suffering by this. May all sentient beings free from this type of suffering. Like that. When you have strong attachment in the mind, like that, sentient beings in the six realms, they are suffering with this type of suffering, with this type of pain, afflictive emotions. This may embody all the sentient beings' attachment, desire, and purify by my own experience. By this my experience may purify all sentient beings who are going through. And when I have this, I feel such pain, predicament. So I have also have to make effort to purify them. When you have suffering of hatred, anger, the mind feels like a whirlwind, pain, such pain. So instead of under influenced by or overpowered by these thoughts, instead of putting action on this, just take that as an object. Rest the mind. So all the sentient beings in the six realms who are suffering from this type of pain, mental afflictive emotions, may this embody all the sentient beings' anger, hatred, and purify is my experience on this. Maybe we achieve, I think so, enlightenment. Maybe we are enlightened knowing these things, but not perfected on this practice. So we have to perfect on the practice. Practice should be done persistently. So this kind of. So when we have this kind of instruction, method, and ability to do the practice, suffering is no longer like a real predicament, agony. Suffering can be such a method to train the mind to know the nature of samsara and give us opportunity to free from samsara and attain enlightenment with the hood. So when suffering comes, yesterday as we discussed, feel grateful. This suffering that I'm facing, reminding me not to create negative karma, reminding me to practice Dharma teachings, reminding me to develop bodhicitta, both relative and ultimate bodhicitta. So I said we take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha and purify all our negative karmas. Make a mandala offerings to accumulate great merit, wisdom, develop strong devotion to the enlightened beings, to receive blessings in order to practice successfully. So get support as much as from these enlightened beings and supplicate, may I successful in the practice of bodhicitta, both relative and ultimate. So these ways, so take the bodhicitta, the relative bodhicitta, absolute bodhicitta, that's yidam. You have heard of yidam, isn't it? So take the bodhicitta as your yidam practice. All the time. So these are prayers. I don't know so much. The future, past. So I rely on these all enlightened beings. So if I'm supposed to get sick, let me get sick. If I'm supposed to be healed, let me get healed. So those prayers, If I'm supposed to die soon, let me die soon. If I'm supposed to live long, so live my life long, and I will practice Dharma. So all this may become a cause to attain enlightenment. Say these prayers. In the world, say these prayers. So what this practice does is to free ourselves from the expectation, from the fear. Let whatever happen, and just utilize in the path towards enlightenment. Whether good or bad, every opportunity transform or carry towards enlightenment. Okay, so that's now it's a brief abbreviation of the yesterday's carrying the suffering or utilizing the suffering towards enlightenment. So through this way, last year also in many different places, occasion I told. So take the suffering as an ornament, rather as a big burden. Who you have, I used to explain this now. Ornaments are made of what? Made of what? Gold, precious jewel, isn't it? They are heavy, isn't it? When you have a big piece of gold on your neck, you feel so proud of that, It will not give you uncomfortable because it's heavy, right? A big piece of a rock, this precious jewel is a rock, isn't it? It's our concept, Now, if you pick up a rock from the road and they put it on your neck, you see, this is so heavy, This is a punishment. It's a punishment to me, You feel so uncomfortable with that, isn't it? It's just your concept. He said, depending to the centuries, kalpas, it changes. The metal, ceremonies. Metal, copper, silver, gold, these four, isn't it? These forces changes. And some kalpa, the metal, the stick, the iron, becomes most expensive. And gold is like the iron, or steel. Now this time the gold is expensive, isn't it? So it's because it changes. So if you know this method as a purification, how to do purifications, then the suffering is like a gold, like a golden opportunity. So it's a gift of my bodhisattvas for my purification. Like this. Okay, so this takes a suffering, takes as ornament. Then the fourth, the mind training was what did I tell? Now practicing, also channelize this practice into whole lifetime. That briefly, first we have to cultivate the mind, so that I will practice this rest of my life. That's one time we got some discussions. I said, isn't it? So this is not something to get degree, to pass like I said, the college, what's a college degree? It's not something like a college degree, You study 3 years, 4 years, then you get the degrees. No, it's not that. This is a matter of lifetime until we attain the enlightenment. So we just practice, cultivate the mind. I will practice the rest of my life, one day at a time, one moment at a time. That's what prayers we have. I will perform virtue state with my body, speech, mind until at enlightenment. I will perform my body and speech, perform virtue state with body, speech, mind until I die. I perform virtue state with body, speech, mind until this time tomorrow, isn't it? So say, one day at a time. Our commitment for the rest of life until we attain enlightenment. Like that. And then power of getting used to it. We should build a power to familiarize it. As I mentioned, maybe we're enlightened, so I understand this. Understand all the technique, how to practice, what it's about. But now we have to get to use it, familiarize it. These two bodhicitta, the relative bodhicitta, the aspiration, the action bodhicitta, to use all this technique. And the ultimate bodhicitta, the clarityness of the mind, familiarize. Familiarize means it's just there when we need it. It's not something artificial. No, it's not something intellectual. Just there practically. That's how familiarize. So we have to familiarize with it. And all these negative thoughts, ignorance, especially the self-grasping, self-cherishing, self-clinging, on the base on this, then attachment, hatred, pride, jealousy rises. And these are the root cause of all the unfavorable conditions, obstacles, suffering. So these are the principal subject that we have to purify, reduce, finally uproot them. That's our main focus. Practice that. Because these are as earlier we did discussion that generally suffering and all samsara, every sentient beings that they are having, particularly those who are in the three lower realms, the hell realm, hungry ghosts, animals, are caused by these afflictive emotions. So that we have to have very clear vision, clear mind, and purify them as much as we can, all the time. If we have like a refuge ordination, high precept ordination, bodhicittas vow, bodhisattvas vow, whatever we have, those are special method. A special method of our practice to purify them. Because when these afflictive emotions not there, all the precepts that we take can keep very well, perfectly. But as long as when they become powerful, then they become a special, instrument, or kind of destroys all the precepts. So precepts are the special kind of boundary, help us whether we could keep or not, whether how they are powerful or not powerful. So say, practice that. Then I always say prayers, may I become successful on this practice. May I transform all my negative thoughts into positive thought. May I carry all the suffering into a path, as a path towards enlightenment. May I enhance the practice of relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. So I say these prayers, these are the special method. How to practice this bodhicitta rest of our life. That way, when it becomes stronger and stronger at the time of death, we just meditate on these two, relative and absolute bodhicitta. So my death, the pain of my death, suffering I'm going through, may purify all the suffering of the death of the sentient beings. May my death become successful, that all sentient beings free from this type of suffering. Yeah. So our death is no longer kind of big burden, rather it's become a special method, as an ornament to develop the relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. And then meditate in the clarity as of the mind, as Mahamudra. So alternate these two, alternate. Practice the relative bodhicitta, meditate on the ultimate bodhicitta. Mind free from all the attachment, hatred.